The man, desperate to become the strongest in the world, subjected himself to the most brutal and unorthodox training methods. He even used 5 types of venomous insects to temper his body, allowing their deadly poison to flow through his veins in the hopes of unlocking unimaginable power. But his obsession led to disaster. His enemies, fearing his growing strength, ambushed him. And threw him into the raging currents of the Yellow River. Watching in horror as her husband was swallowed by the merciless waters, didn't hesitate. She leaped in after him, determined to share his fate. The river carried them for miles, their bodies battered and broken. Just when death seemed certain, they were pulled from the brink by a mysterious woman, a reclusive healer who lived deep in the mountains, hidden from the world. With only a few needles, she purged the poison from Sue's body. But though his life was saved, the price was steep. Sue's right hand was ruined, twisted, and lifeless. He couldn't even lift a simple bowl of rice. The realization crushed him. A once great warrior reduced to nothing. But despair soon turned to rage. Revenge burned in his heart like an unquenchable fire. He would not remain weak. He would become stronger, stronger than ever before. Thus began Sue's descent into madness. His training regimen was nothing short of brutal. Day and night, he pushed his body beyond its limits, punishing himself in ways no sane man would. He imagined the day he would peel the armor off his enemy's body as easily as stripping bark from a tree. One afternoon, as he pushed his broken body to its absolute limits, he suddenly heard singing. It was distant yet clear, like a voice carried on the wind. Looking up, he saw 2 figures standing effortlessly atop a tree, 5 feet high. Their movements were light, like feathers floating in the breeze. Without hesitation, Sue chased them, throwing himself forward with everything he had. He dropped to his knees, pleading with them to take him as a disciple. But the figures merely smiled, uninterested. Desperate, Sue attacked, determined to prove his worth. In mere moments, he was on the ground, defeated. Yet, for the first time in a long while, he felt something other than anger. He felt awe. From that day on, Sue returned every single day to challenge the martial god. At first, he couldn't last more than a couple of moves, but he never gave up. Every day he fought. Every day he improved. Slowly but surely, he began to last longer. He was no longer just a desperate man. He was becoming something else. Meanwhile, had grown worried. She ventured into the mountains in search of her husband, only to find a man she barely recognized. Sue stood alone on the edge of a cliff, his body covered in bruises and scars. He leaped, twirled, and crashed against the rocks below, laughing wildly as he smashed a wine jar over his own head. Ng's heart ached. The man she had loved, the father of her son, had gone mad. She tried to reach him, to shake him from his madness, to tell him the truth. But he wouldn't listen. He refused to accept reality. Feeling abandoned, made a painful decision. If Sue wouldn't help, she would go alone. She would rescue their son herself. When Sue discovered what she had done, something inside him snapped. He bolted from the mountains, running as fast as his battered body would allow. He could not let her face them alone. fate was cruel. By the time his enemies finished burying the woman, the man who ordered her death slaughtered them all, ensuring that no one would ever know where she lay. Sue arrived too late. A passing merchant whispered the truth to him. Ng had been buried deep in the woods. Frantic, Sue rushed there, clawing at the earth with his bare hands, digging until his nails split and bled. But it was no use. By the time he uncovered her face, it was pale and lifeless. She had suffocated beneath the soil, alone in the darkness. And in that moment, Sue understood true agony. The man responsible had to die, and Sue would ensure that his death was slow. Thanks for watching, guys. Kindly subscribe to Movie Matrix for more movie recaps. Also, like and share. See you in the next movie.